Hello everyone and welcome to this video. We're going to talk the Rock and Wrestling connection. And maybe not what you think of the Rock and Wrestling connection. Jack, Rodney, I have a magazine here. It was called the Wrestling News Magazine. It had the Freebirds, Mark Reagan, Snowman, which we have a great story to tell somewhere.
Superstar there.
Down the line. Some good stories about him and Dutch Mantel. We'll have to tell one of these days. But right now we're talking about the Rock and Wrestling connection. This was in Norman Kaiser put this book together. And I read this the other day and I thought this was very interesting. And this was, I hadn't read this since it came out in 1984, I believe. This might have been in 1983. I'm not for certain, but it said the Rock and Wrestling connection. And he says, we continue to read in the national media how there has been a big resurgence in the interest in professional wrestling, more specifically how promoter Vince McMahon Jr. has brought wrestling into the mainstream of American life. Now, he talks about that, which we all probably can agree Vince McMahon did that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was probably true. Now, one must give McMahon credit where credit is due. He certainly has convinced a major portion of the national media that pro wrestling is a major attraction and that he is the one responsible. Which he really wasn't the one responsible. He just so happened to bring it to mainstream.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yep.
Right. He said, but we also have to take issue with some of that. Pro wrestling is a part of the mainstream of American life, and it has been for more than decades that I have lived. And Norman Kaiser was pretty old during this point in time, so he'd been around a while. He said its peak in terms of attendance and matches actually came a few years ago. And there have been many high peaks of interest over the years. McMahon's main credit may be that he has gotten national media people to finally recognize that wrestling is a major league sport, even though it has been for decades. That's true. Even though Vince McMahon's told everybody that he was the one that made wrestling the huge hit, but it was a huge hit in the 70s everywhere.
Yeah.
Am I correct, Rodney?
No, absolutely. And the thing about it is that what he did is he nationalized it, whereas Jim Crockett was doing awesome, tremendous business in the Carolinas. Eddie Graham in Florida, the Von Erichs in Texas, just in Mid-South. They were Jerry Jarrett. They were doing just tremendous business at the time, and it was not just a like Bill Watts said. There was never a renaissance in wrestling. There's not, and it wasn't. It just Vince McMahon just nationalized wrestling because he was doing big business up in his territory as well.
Specifically, one of the things McMahon has been given credit for is the Rock and Wrestling connection, which is a concept that is hard to define. McMahon has hired, and he hired this lady right here, Cyndi Lauper, time after time, Cyndi Lauper there, and other celebrities appear with his wrestlers, and certainly has generated national publicity for this. Do you give Cyndi Lauper credit for Vince McMahon's success?
And her willingness to work with him, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you weren't around during that time, Cyndi Lauper was one of the biggest names in the industry. So her becoming a part of what he was trying to build was significant. Plus, you're also talking about the start of MTV. And this is back when they actually showed music videos all the time. So, you know, the videos that she had were number one. The songs she had were number ones. The video she did with Lou Albano was very highly rated. She was very instrumental in this.
This is what he says. He said, but the plain truth is that there have been celebrities who have been wrestling fans over the years, and there will continue to be. There have also been wrestlers who have been rock and roll fans since the 1950s and will continue to be. He said, I want to take a look at those wrestlers who we think make up the real Rock and Wrestling connection, those wrestlers who have incorporated their love of rock and roll into professional wrestling. The first person that he talks about is the people that was on this cover, and that was the Fabulous Freebirds. He says the Fabulous Freebirds, Michael Hayes of the Freebirds, have crossed over to rock and roll directly with his own hit record, Bad Street USA. Was that a hit record, by the way?
Yeah, it was pretty popular.
Which is as Jim Cornette said one time that they didn't release it. It escaped. That's what he said. But he said the Bad Street USA, which has been a regional hit in several areas, and which certainly is the most successful rock record done by professional wrestling to date.
Yep.
Then he talks about, and it's true, he talks about the Rock and Roll Express. He said the Rock and Roll Express, pictured on page 2 of this issue, are without a doubt the most successful of all time among many wrestlers who have incorporated rock and roll into the ring images. Y'all agree with that?
That statement still holds up today.
I agree. He said, in fact, the Express, made up of Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, may be well the most popular tag team in wrestling today, as well as one of the most successful, as evident by the fact that at the present time, they held the NWA World Tag Team Championship. Rock and roll definitely was probably one of the, when you go for
very talented people.
Do what?
They were very talented.
Yes.
Very talented.
We have several other teams who have adopted the mode of the rock and roll gimmick, basically. They are the original rockers. Did y'all know there was some original rockers? There wasn't Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. The original rockers was actually Joe Savoldi and Al Perez.
I remember them being in magazines. I don't remember them being called the Rockers, though.
No, I don't remember that either. I remember this picture, though.
They were named the Rockers. Where did they wrestle at? Do y'all remember?
I would assume
was it Joe Savoldi?
Yeah, I think so.
Because here they are right here, and it actually has a picture of them. I'm gonna throw this up here because I didn't know this until I. You see them right there,
and it does have rock just right there on the shirt, so that should tell you that's the Rockers. Is that Joe Watts right above?
Yeah, that is Joe Watts, the Rock and Roll RPM.
Not just Joe Watts, the Rock and Roll RPM. He was rock too. Let's just be honest. He made all them videos. And
yeah,
one with Mitch Reed was a stellar one.
It's funny that you say that. It's funny because you say that. He says another person comes to mind as far more significant innovator than McMahon in the Rock and Wrestling Connection, and that is Joe Watts of Mid-South Wrestling. He said Mid-South Wrestling Association, but I don't think it was called Mid-South Wrestling Association, was it?
They were trying to make it sound bigger.
Yeah.
It was Joe who first produced videos on Wrestling Stars, which I don't think that's true. I think Memphis did that.
Yeah. Randy West did that. Awesome videos.
By the way, this is not correct because Randy West is the one that first did the music video. I think I believe they're the first wrestling company ever did music videos.
They did, and it was, and they set the standard. And Jarrett Promotion set the standard for a lot of things.
Yeah. So it talks about him. It talks about but this is what he said. He said, yes, there is a connection between rock and wrestling, but professional wrestling is a significant part of our culture on its own. It has been for a much longer time than many media people admit. We don't deny anyone credit for helping to make wrestling popular or suggest that we have identified all who played a part in the area in this short editorial, but we have tried to put the whole matter in perspective as I see it. And that was Norman. I thought that was a great story that he put together. And by the way, another one of those groups was Rock and Roll RPMs. Mike Davis, Tom Lane, another one of those guys that was really good at that time. Anything we need to talk about when we talk about the Rock and Wrestling Connection, and really what he talks about, not really WWF Cyndi Lauper's Rock and Wrestling Connection.
No. Oh, go ahead.
AWA did some stuff. It wasn't unheard of, but Vince McMahon is the one who really put it to the forefront and made it a huge part, really the biggest part for a time period there of his promotion.
And the key was really Lou Albano in that video. He was in the video a long time. I think that's the connection there that brought Cyndi Lauper in. And she was a huge, huge superstar. And of course, that whole that whole thing with Lou Albano claiming he wrote time after time and all that was awesome.
Yeah, did Lou not do the Tonight Show during that time period too? I believe.
Yes, he did.
I mean, they were getting all kinds of mainstream attention that everybody wished they could have gotten, but Vince was smart enough to figure out how to get it.
And being in New York City was the key, because that's one of the big media markets. So being in New York City, and all this came from Madison Square Garden pretty much. So yeah, it was the key.
Okay, folks, if you enjoyed this video, give us the big thumbs up, subscribe to the page, and go one step further. Hit that notification bell. It'll let you know every time we upload a video. We'll see you in the next episode right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out.